Hello everyone and welcome back to Broken Sword, Shadow of the Templars. My name is Pete and once again I am joined by
Viv.
And when we last left our story we had just had a stern word with Mr. Sean Fitzgerald about Professor Pegram and his gem, whereupon Sean fled from the pub and has apparently been run down by a sports car. So let's go outside and have a look at the damage, shall we? Bless you. And again.
I was telling the truth about Fitzy, mister.
Okay, calm down. Now tell me what happened.
I was standing here, minding my own business, when I saw this beautiful red sports car coming up over the hill. Would you look at that, says I, and I going over to take a closer look. Next thing, Fitzy comes tearing out of the pub and nearly knocks me on the ass. But the car just flies at him. It was too fast for poor old Fitzy, and hit him an awful wallop. He goes flying up on top. Jesus, says I thought he was a goner. Next thing, the driver hops out, and I couldn't believe my eyes. He was dressed like a bloody pixie.
Now remember the costume shop owner back in Paris? What was the second costume he said the guy rented?
Exactly.
So, with that in mind, shall we ask about the pixie?
Yes, or the photo even. If it was the man, rather, but yeah.
Shall we try showing the photo again first?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen this man before?
What a slimy character.
Oh, I thought you might have to try.
No, I never seed him.
Okay.
Nope, no such luck, but let's try the pixie.
Did this pixie have a scar on his cheek?
I couldn't see. He was wearing a stupid mask. Are you a special agent?
Sorry to disappoint you, kid, but I'm not.
Well, shall we ask about Fitzy then?
Yeah.
Did Fitzgerald drop anything when he was hit?
I didn't see. It all happened so fast.
Right, shall we survey the crime scene?
Oh yeah.
See you later, kid.
Okay, mister.
Well, most obvious piece of damage.
Yeah, I was going to say there's something happened there.
This case has been knocked off.
The plastic cover had been smashed by the pixie's car, revealing a switch.
Oh.
Let's leave that alone, shall we?
No.
No, of course we're not going to leave it alone. Let's fiddle around with that.
I pushed the switch down, but in doing so it snapped off in my hand.
Oh, really?
I was never here.
What was the switch for? Oh, was it for the trap for the beer? Maybe.
What, this you mean?
Yeah.
Well, let's give it a try.
I tugged at the trapdoor, but it was locked from the inside.
No, it wasn't that.
Could it have gone down there? Is it like a grate, or is that Mr. Patton?
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be a grate. But now we can't fiddle around to try and find the switch again, but
It was impossible to return the switch to its original position.
Disappointing. Do we have glue?
we do not, sadly. Grease paint doesn't count. However, if we go back to Mick the bartender. Bless you. Bless you.
Excuse me?
Yes, sir?
Let's ask for another pint, shall we?
Oh, not well.
May I have another beer, please?
Certainly, sir. Same again?
Yeah, please. How is this stuff made?
That's the secret of the master brewer, sir. Each barrel is lovingly manhandled in time-honoured fashion, suspended on skillfully tied ropes of the finest hemp, lowered into the cellar utilising the forces of original gravity, like manna from heaven. I'm sorry, but the pump appears to be broken.
It wasn't
I
me.
could fix it for you.
I don't think so. This is a job for a professional electrician. Oh, well, at least the glass washer is still working. It's not my idea, is it?
Right. So he won't let anyone but a professional electrician look at the pumps.
Doesn't he have some form of ID saying he does electrics?
Yep, we have Mr. Moreland's identification card.
It just so happens I'm an electrician. Check out my credentials.
Well, no. Isn't that marvellous? Here's a house bedevilled with faulty wiring of a wayward nature. Here's you, an electric man, with a little plastic card to prove it. I still want to see what you can do before I let you touch me beer pumps. You can make a start on the glass washer.
I thought that worked.
And when you've finished that, will you take a look at the pumps?
Right, so now we can have a look at the dishwasher at least.
I couldn't see anything obviously wrong with the machine. I figured it must be the wiring.
You know what we need? A good old bit of brute force. That'll sort everything out. No, George disagrees.
There was nothing physically wrong with the glass washer.
What we can look at here, it's hard to see on the screen, but the plug itself is a separate item. Let's have a look
It
at
was
that.
an electrical plug attached to the glass washer.
Let's see if we can find anything untoward there.
I used all my knowledge of electrical engineering to examine the plug. Seemed fine to me. The white whiskers on the bartender's flushed face were like garlands on a Christmas tree. The resemblance ended there.
Yep, we've had that already. Let's see if we can
Well,
Well, what?
are you going to fix this glass washer or not?
Okay, so I'll just tell you what the problem is now. The fuse has blown.
Okay.
So we need something, bless you, that we can use to replace it.
Okay.
So we don't have anything in our
fuse.
Yep, we don't have anything in our inventory that will work at the moment, but there is something in this bar that we can use.
Oh,
Do you remember what we saw?
yeah, he was playing with a piece of.
Yep, we saw Ron playing with that.
Yeah.
Now, they're probably a wee bit too late here, but
Almost as if he'd sensed my intentions, the old derelict snatched the wire from the table.
just have to take it out again. We just need to get our timing right here. Usually takes the wire out and then immediately starts sneezing, and that's our cue to grab the thing from under his nose. Anytime you're ready there, Ron.
2 hours later.
Here we go. There we go.
As soon as the old guy looked away, I grabbed this piece of wire. It was a short piece of wire, twisted into a rough circle.
You can put it around his neck and stop him from sneezing. I'm sorry.
A permanent solution.
Yes.
But in the meantime, we can fix the wiring.
I replaced the fuse with a piece of wire. I knew it was dangerous, but I was desperate enough to disregard everything I knew about standard safety precautions. Excuse me, Mr. Leary. I fixed your glass washer, no problem.
Bingo! And a blessing to all the saints. A free half pint to that man on the house.
Half
Now,
pint.
could you take a look at the beer pumps?
Well, I guess so, but I'm not making any promises.
If you can't fix them, I'll have a riot on me hands.
The pumps are in the cellar, right?
That's right. You'll find a flashlight down there somewhere.
Okay, so now we have access to the cellar.
Oh. So we can find if she drops
What a dumb place to store a flashlight. A dark cellar. The only way I was going to find anything down there was to feel around.
So there's very little we can actually do here at the moment since we can't see anything. The only thing we can interact with is this tempting looking switch.
My hand closed on a long metal rod.
That blows up.
I pushed the lever and heard the grating of metal, but nothing appeared to happen.
Right, nothing here, perhaps. But remember, we discovered the trapdoor was locked from the other side. We've just been on the other side.
Ah, okay.
So let's see if we can open it now, shall we? Let's have a bloody good look at the situation. Yeah!
Like magic.
I lifted the trap door, and an overpowering smell of stale beer rose from the cellar below.
In other words,
I
beer.
looked down on a stone-tiled floor, way too far to jump.
Hang on, he looks familiar.
Excuse me.
There was a nasty feeling in my guts I usually associated with light opera. It was Khan. What's the problem?
Did you see what happened here a few minutes ago?
What was that?
A man was involved in an unfortunate accident.
I didn't see anything.
What about the boy?
He doesn't know anything either. The kid, well, you know how it is in these rural communities. Not enough genes to go round. I prayed McGuire had the sense to keep his mouth shut. Was the guy hurt bad?
He's been taken care of, but he thinks he dropped a small parcel. You didn't happen to find it, did you?
If I had, I would have taken it to the police.
Of course. Thank you.
And breathe.
You'd think he'd have been more insistent.
So he apparently didn't recognise us, or at least didn't let on that he recognised us. So we can at least look at the
Trapdoor
trapdoor.
gave access to the cellar of the bar.
Right, remember what George said? It was too far to jump down.
Yeah.
So let's jump down.
It wasn't my
You
nerves
die.
that stopped me jumping. It was my damned legs. They wouldn't move.
No, George is too smart for that kind of thing. But the point is, now that we've opened that latch, that's a source of light for the cellar.
Ah, okay.
So back down we go.
Then I noticed a flash of light. Something sparkling beneath the open trap door. It was Peagram's gem, all right. A large, uncut blue stone. As I held it aloft, I realized the fascination it could command. I guess I was already under its spell.
Did you find it?
What?
Whatever you was looking for.
Yeah. Listen, McGuire, I want you to keep this to yourself.
No problemo. Just chuck us up a crate of lager.
No way, you're not old enough.
We can sell it and make some cash.
Forget it, kid. I couldn't betray Mr. Leary's trust.
I could, for sure. That old misery guts deserves it.
If you want to do me a favor, keep a lookout for that guy in the suit.
Okay. But it'll cost you a packet of chips.
Oh, and shout if you see that Ferrari.
So we can have a look around down the cellar now we have some light.
It was a couple of paper sacks filled with trash. I searched the trash, but there was nothing useful there.
Oh well. Can't look at the barrels, but you can look
It was a
over here.
bunch of cleaning materials.
Clearly not very well used.
I looked among the cleaning materials, but saw nothing I could use. It was a calendar with a faded photograph of a prize-winning carp.
They couldn't get much more stereotypical, could they?
No, I mean, really. It's gone to a lot of effort.
It was a rusty faucet.
What happened to the torch, I wonder?
The faucet creaked, coughed, and spewed out a stream of rusty-colored water.
The torch? Oh, we've got it here.
Oh, I didn't realize.
It was the barman's flashlight.
Yeah, George picks it up automatically,
Oh, okay.
along with the gem.
It was a large blue gemstone.
We don't need the tap for now, so we can turn that back off.
I shut off the faucet as tight as I could, but it kept on dripping.
I think that's everything we can do for now, so yep. Off we go. So there you go, now we have Peagram's Gem. And can I just remind you at this point, we still haven't actually been to the castle.
No.
So now's as good a time as any to make our way there. It's just up here. That's needlessly dramatic music for just outside the pub.
Does the kid just loiter there all the time?
Yeah, that's basically all he
Outside the
does.
pub?
Yeah.
Nice.
Right. Well,
The gates were made of solid, age-blackened wood.
well, plan A, even though it never works, let's try the front door.
Yeah.
Pushing with all my strength got me nowhere. They didn't budge. I really need to start working out.
Right, so we're not getting in that way. Okay, plan B.
On the back of the cart was a crazily stacked tower of hay bales, leaning precariously against the castle wall.
Shall we try that?
Why not? Oh, there's someone there.
Okay, what do you think will happen when we try to climb the haystack?
Some of it will fall on this guy.
Get away, you silly noodle! Can't you see the load's unstable?
Yep, there's always someone blocking progress, so
The farmer's
let's see if we can
craggy
reason with
face
him.
was set in a mask of aesthetic appreciation. His feet were set in a pair of manure-caked boots. Hi, it's me again.
So I see. What now?
I think that the game kind of assumed we'd spoken to him already by this point, so...
Or maybe before going to the gate. Or something.
well, I think before climbing the haystack, rather.
Oh,
But,
maybe.
but anyway, we can now see if we can convince him to let us up the haystack. So, what should we ask him about?
The
We've
castle, maybe.
got Pegram, the castle, the sports car, or the book that he's reading.
Let's start with the castle.
Yeah, good thinking.
What can you tell me about the castle?
Not much, I'm sorry to say. Most of its history is long forgotten. Ah, but if these old stones could only speak, what stories they'd tell. Stories to make your toes curl and your blood run cold. You know, this castle is said to be over 600 years old.
Should we see if we can find any more details about those 600 years?
Yeah.
Who built the castle?
Mad Phelan, the first lord of Lochmarn.
Well, I say lord, but actually he was little more than a village chieftain. He built his castle from the remains of the Templar preceptory.
Oh.
So now we can ask about the Templars.
Yeah.
Should we do that or continue asking about the castle?
Maybe Templars and then back to castle. If we can.
Where was the site of the Templar preceptory?
Right here on Temple Hill. Phelan built right on top of the old wall. It's said that deep beneath these walls there's a Templar chapel.
Should we press the issue further?
Why not?
Did Pegram discover the chapel?
I don't know. His workers were sworn to secrecy.
Yeah, that doesn't sound suspicious in the slightest.
Castle.
Back to the castle.
Do you mind if I climb up your haystack to get into the castle?
What? You'd break your stupid neck for sure. Do you think I'd stand by and see your brains dashed out?
I'd be very careful, and I promise not to sue.
You won't get the chance, not while I'm here to stop you.
Okay, fair enough then. So, what next?
His book, maybe?
Good book?
A book? It's a passport to a world of fantasy and imagination.
Yeah, what's the title?
Creative Shelving for Beginners, the 1978 edition.
Oh, a timeless classic.
Yeah.
What's so cool about home improvement?
There's nothing like it. The resinous autumnal aroma of seasoned wood, the rhythmic rasp of the plane. Ah,
No wonder our Lord came to earth as the son of a humble carpenter. I bet he was a wizard with a chisel and a length or two before.
Yep. He's known for it.
Right. Shall we try again?
Why not?
Surely the betrayal of Christ's adoptive family as humble artisans is a symbolic metaphor.
I don't know about that, but I know they were carpenters. Haven't you read the book?
Well, no. But I have seen The Greatest Story Ever Told, and I don't recall Jesus putting up any shelves.
That would make for an interesting scene, I think.
It would.
Actually, pretty interesting foreshadowing, considering the carpenters who nailed his cross together.
True, yes.
I don't know where I'm going with that. Anyway.
Rewriting.
Right, shall we speak about Pigram or the car?
Maybe the car, because it was sort of recently around.
Did you happen to see a red sports car down on the road?
I caught a glimpse of a flash of red on the hill and heard the racket. Sure, it was an awful noise. A sports car, you say?
A Ferrari, to be exact.
A racing car? And what was it doing here? The poor fella must have been lost.
Let's go again.
The driver of the Ferrari was involved in an accident.
Is that so?
Yeah, he knocked somebody down outside the bar.
What an idiot! How could a thing like that happen?
He was traveling too fast.
So fast, he ran right under the car?
I mean, the car was traveling too fast.
But you'd have thought the idiot could have heard it coming.
So now we can talk about the idiot in question.
Possibly a good idea.
Maybe you know the guy who was hit by the Ferrari. His name is Sean Fitzgerald.
Oh, I know him all right. That's me nephew, the idiot responsible for the stacking of my hay cart. Was he killed by the car?
Oh no, but he has been abducted.
Well, that's a relief now.
Yeah, he's in the hands of a mad assassin, but that's massive relief,
His
obviously.
family members are not bothered.
Welcome to Ireland, everybody.
Yeah.
Shall we go further?
Yeah.
Aren't you going to look for your nephew?
What for? From what you say, it's too late.
Well, you could report the matter to the police.
Better not. Besides, what could they do?
Well, they could mount a search.
They have only the one bicycle between them. In a question of superior acceleration, I put me money on the Ferrari.
Like I said earlier, all the research already amounted to 5 episodes of Ballycassie Angel.
Okay.
So, shall we go again?
Yeah.
I think you ought to know exactly what Sean has gotten himself into.
I'm not sure I want to know.
But you're his uncle, his own flesh and blood.
You're right, but what can I do? If I'm not here to guard it, some idiot might try to climb the haystack. What a moral dilemma. Stay here and guard this potentially lethal agricultural construction, or to go off in search of the prodigal nephew, the very man responsible for said hazard? It'll need some thinking about.
Why, there's no problem.
You're right. Why didn't I think of it before? We'll demolish the haystack.
Yes, good idea. I've got just the tool for the job right here. No, fair enough. We need the haystack. All right.
You don't have to demolish the haystack to go look for Sean. I'll stay here in your place and warn anyone who's silly enough to climb it.
Marvellous. I think I should start me inquiries in the bar.
Of course. He's got such a short memory, because, yeah.
He strode off in the direction of McDevitt's bar, leaving me to contemplate the stack of hay.
Okay. Well, we did promise we'd warn anyone silly enough to climb it, so, George, whatever you do, do not climb that haystack.
Yeah.
There you go. We only said we'd warn, we didn't say we'd stop him.
Oh, yeah, he's got the upper voice from
The stack of hay stopped, short of the top of the wall. Even if I stretched as far as I could, the wall was out of reach. What I needed was a slice or two of Alice's Wonderland. Above my head was a gap in the wall where the massive stones had fallen away.
Right. Let's see if we can't jump.
Dang, you might fall to your death.
No, it's okay. This is one of the points in the game where it's not possible to die.
Really?
So, yep. So
You would
whatever.
have thought this would be a proper death spot.
Yeah, this is a time in adventure gaming history when then kind of relaxed on the whole bullshit death thing. There's a bit of a step down from King's Quest series that famously killed you if you walked literally one step the wrong direction on the opening screen. But anyway, no. But what we do have
There
is
was
this.
a narrow crack between two of the stones where the centuries-old mortar had crumbled away. I pushed my fingers into the narrow crack. It went back several inches into the rock.
So we can use that to put a foothold in. Now, what do we have we could use as a foothold?
What do we have?
Our best friend,
Oh, that, yeah.
the lifting key.
Yes.
I inserted the end of the lifting key in the mortarless crack and gave it a firm shove. It remained lodged in the wall, jutting out to form a step.
And just to be sure,
I tugged at the lifting key and found it was held quite securely.
okay. Right, now. Right, the way I had originally planned this, I was going to cut the episode off here, but I think we're running a wee bit short yet, so I might just press on. There was a very specific reason that I decided I was going to end it here, and anyone who's played this game knows what's coming next.
Oh.
So, let's press on forward and meet the most infamously hated puzzle in this game.
Puzzle? Okay.
So here we go. Having a look around this lovely Templar preceptory. And then there's this asshole.
What is it? It's a goat.
It's a goat.
It was the fiercest, meanest looking old goat I'd ever laid eyes upon.
Right, let's try and make friends with it.
Hey, Billy. The animal fixed on me with an evil glare. Behind the malice and resentment, there was a cool intelligence. How you doing, boy? I felt as threatened as I'd been by the assassin and his goons in Paris.
Okay.
The top of a ladder rose out of the squarely dug hole.
Right. Let's see if we can get there, shall we?
Shouldn't be too difficult.
No, of course not!
Oh! That was unexpected.
Exactly.
It's a bit provoking.
Right, well now he's got it out of his system. Let's try it again. No!
Ew! He does it exactly the same.
Yep, he's not letting us past. So, how do we deal with goats?
Is he on
It
a
was a
string?
rusted piece of iron. Maybe part of a plow or something.
So, maybe the plough.
How's that?
No!
Oh!
What do we think, viewers?
Can we shoot it? Throw the
man.
gem at it.
That's actually not a bad idea, but priceless gemstone that it is.
Knock it out for a bit.
No. Nope.
Oh, we don't have the crowbar anymore.
Nope. No, it's none of the items here are used. Well, actually, I wonder if we can confuse it with the light. No.
It's not a
No, that
cat.
would make far too much I don't want... I can't even speak anymore. Well, do you want to know what the solution is?
Is it something to do with its lead?
It is. Specifically the lead and the plough.
Oh,
But-
okay.
But it's a matter of timing, because if we go over here, and then knock us over again, and then... And we have never seen George run that fast in the game so far. So.
The rope by which the goat was tethered had become tangled on the old plowshare.
Wow. Okay.
The goat was tangled up with the old plow.
How long did it take you to get that?
Hey, Billy.
Yeah,
The goat
Like I said,
responded with a cool and penetrating stare.
like I said, this is one that is burnt into the memory of everyone who's played this game. Because the problem is, it's an obvious enough solution when you think about it, but like, there's been no other puzzles up to this point that have required timing or moving fast.
Yeah.
So it's kind of unexpected. But yeah, this puzzle is so infamous it has its own Wikipedia article.
Really?
Yep, and it's separate from the game's own article. I'm not joking. You can look this up.
Wow.
Charles Cecil said that the moment he realised he'd made it as a game designer was when he was talking to a taxi driver who asked what he did for a living. He said he was a game designer. The taxi driver asked if he had done anything of note, and he mentioned Broken Sword, to which the taxi driver responded, "Oh, so you're the one responsible for that fucking goat puzzle, are you?" So yeah, a little piece of adventure game history there, for better or worse. But anyway, goats aside, here we are in the Templar Chapel. Ooh.
Okay.
Behind the altar was a carved panel decorated with animals, birds, and plants.
Let's examine it.
I tried in vain to move the panel.
Right, let's see what this panel is next to it.
There was a pattern of 5 holes arranged on the wall. They'd been drilled there deliberately.
This looks really familiar.
I placed my fingers and thumb into the holes in the wall. Nothing happened.
Okay, so we have a pattern of 5 holes here. And it's hard to see, but there's a little figurine down here. I don't know if you can see it.
I can't.
No.
It was a statue which had fallen from its place on the wall.
Okay.
5 fingers of stone projected from the back of the carving.
Aha.
Ah, that's right.
So.
Yeah.
Obviously we need that.
The statue was too heavy to lift. It overbalanced into the sand. The statue lay face up in the soft sand. As I swung the stone upright, I noticed it had left a pattern of holes in the sand.
Okay, so we
It's
need
like a key.
we need to get the fingers of stone into this panel,
Okay.
but it's too heavy to lift.
Okay.
We do, however, have an
The
imprint.
5 fingers on the back of the statue had left their impressions in the fine sand.
I think that's some plasticine or clay or something.
You're actually not far off.
I placed my fingers in the 5 impressions left by the fallen stone. It was weird. They fit perfectly.
So, if we look over here,
The bench had probably been used by Pegram and his archaeological team.
so let's have a look at what they've been using.
The only object on the table which interested me was a small sack. The sack contained a fine white powder.
Ah, so that's what Pegram got up to in his spare time, is it?
As I dipped my fingers into the soft white powder, I realized what it was. Plaster of Paris. I'd used it in kindergarten to make casts of animal paw prints.
So, what can we use that for?
Making a cast.
Exactly.
It was a handful of plaster left in the castle by Pegram's archaeology team. I sprinkled the plaster on the sand until the holes were filled.
Oh, does he have to spit on it or pee on it?
The patch of sand where the statue had fallen was covered with a dense sprinkling of plaster.
I just love you go from spitting on it to peeing on it. That's
Well,
a
how
natural
else are you going to
progression.
produce liquid of some kind?
Well, you're on the right track. We do need to get it wet.
Okay.
Okay. So, where is the nearest source of water?
smoothed the
Everyone
plaster
avert your
level with the
eyes.
sand. It was my first experience of home improvement.
Image very censored. No. No, sadly, that is not the solution. Revolution was
It would have
not
been
thinking that far
easier.
out of the box. Yeah. but where is the nearest source of water?
Oh, does he have to go all the way back to the pub?
Yep.
Oh, and use beer. That seems wrong.
No, not beer. Remember the sink down in the cellar?
Ah.
Because
that had
the beer
water.
tap's broken, remember?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Could use
Which is
vodka.
still not our fault.
No. Well, we hope not. So he falls to his death.
might just cut this whole bit out and just cut straight back to the bar, because nothing of interest happens between now and
This
then.
is him walking to the bar.
Yeah. So now we're back in the bar.
Yeah.
We can also talk to Sean's uncle over here again.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello there. Let me introduce you to my pals.
We've already met.
We should probably talk about Sean, address the elephant in the room.
I want you to know you have my sympathy.
Oh, it's just terrible, awful.
Yeah.
It's the worst news I heard all day.
It's top the bad news all right for this week and the next.
The beard.
The whole year.
It's worse than that. It's the worst disaster in living memory.
Isn't it the biggest calamity in the history of the village?
I would say it's the biggest in the history of Ireland.
The most awesome disaster since mankind paddled out of the primal plop.
There's no beer.
Oh,
Yep.
that's so stereotypical.
Yep. When the director's cut of this game came out, they basically removed that entire piece of dialogue just because of the unfortunate implications.
Yeah.
Is a glass of beer more important than a man's life?
Were you talking to me?
To all of you. Sean Fitzgerald has met with God knows what, and all you can do is drink.
Sean has gone for a ride in a flash car, that's all. Why don't you calm down and join us?
Shall we talk about Sean again?
What about Sean? Why aren't you out looking for him?
There's no point in launching an ill-equipped expedition to save the lad. In a life-or-death situation, preparation is essential. That's why I slipped in here.
For a pint.
If he's preparing by having a pint, then he can't prepare because there's no
No
beer.
beer.
So, but
Yeah.
you really didn't think this through, did you, mate?
No.
Well, shall we try showing him anything?
No, I don't think it's worth it.
Nah, really isn't. There's not a whole lot to be gained.
I gotta go.
So before we go down to the cellar, we need some way to transport the water back to the castle.
A glass.
Nope, we don't have a glass. But we do have... This is very difficult to see here. Remember the beer towel under
It was a beer-stained piece of toweling.
Okay.
under Mr. Doyle's elbow.
The man's arm lay across the towel, preventing me from moving it.
So once again, we just have to get our timing right here. Just wait until he lifts his arm. And there we go.
As the man raised his arm to drink, I snatched the towel away. It was a rectangle of toweling, printed with the words, Nagopolian Stout builds body.
Okay.
So now, back to the sink.
The faucet creaked, coughed, and spewed out a stream of rusty-colored water.
So let's give the towel a good soaking and be on our way.
Has he just left the trapdoor open in the middle of the road like that?
Yeah.
I held the towel under the faucet and soaked it with water.
Remember that one episode of Only Fools and Horses? Just no reason. So yeah, so now we have one soaking wet towel, and this is where the game gets slightly tired of timing-based puzzles, because if we faff around too long, it actually dries out.
Of course it does.
So we have to hurry on our way back.
So no talking to anyone. Or falling down traps.
Yep, we have to avoid that.
Doors.
So yeah. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna jump cut straight to when we're back at the preceptory. So jump cut. Boom. And here we are back in the Templar Chapel. That was quick, wasn't it? Okay. Right. Let's complete our little cast then.
The trickle of water was quickly absorbed by the plaster. A lump of hardened plaster lay on the sand at my feet. The plaster cast was a pretty neat replica of the back of the stone, complete with protruding fingers.
Ha ha ha.
That was very quick setting.
Yeah.
Super
I
quick.
eased the solid piece of plaster from the sand. Underneath, it had formed a perfect copy of the statue.
Well, Pegram was a professional archaeologist, so obviously he'd have only the best.
Yeah.
So now we simply move across, put this in the panel.
The hardened plaster cast fitted snugly into the 5 matching sockets. There was a soft thud, then silence.
Ooh. Trapdoor.
A flight of stairs led down into darkness.
That's probably where you die. Don't go.
Prepare yourself. Once more into the unknown.
He's very brave. Or stupid, I don't know which.
Oh, so there's our next clue. Montfaucon. And then jump cut back to Nico's apartment.
Oh. Oh.
So, where did you stay last night?
At McDevitt's. I got to drinking with
You
Doyle
didn't do
and a couple of the
anything else there?
guys.
That explains why you look so ill today. Did you get any sleep at all?
Not much. I had to share the room with another guy.
Did he snore?
Hardly. He was dead. Then Leary woke me in the middle of the night to help bail out the cellar.
The cellar was flooded?
Yeah, some idiot had left the faucet running.
And you say Pegram has disappeared?
Without a trace. But my visit wasn't a complete waste of time.
Pegram's gem?
The Templars gem. Whoever Jacques Marquet is, he's in for a disappointment.
Jacques Marquet?
He's the guy who should have collected the gem from Fitzgerald.
What are your plans?
I want to find out who, what, or where Montfaucon was. All I've got to go by is the name and a picture of a hanged man.
Right, let's have a closer look at the gem, shall we?
Yeah.
Do you want to look after the gem?
No, Josh. I'd be too tempted to sell it.
Oh, fair enough then. So, not a whole lot to add. Oh, we've got to have the plaster of Paris.
Look, Nico, a handful of plaster.
Yeah. Why is it that men never really grow up?
What's your problem, sister?
Your pockets stuffed with useless junk like little boys.
You never know when useless junk might come in handy.
He's wearing the same clothes he wore a few days ago. Everyone's
Yeah, well, that's the jacket with the magic pockets that can fit everything from a priceless gem to a magical lifting key. So, yeah, that's pretty much all we can talk about for now, so...
I can't sit here all day, much as I'd like to.
Okay. Don't forget to look for Lobineau at the Krone Museum. And why don't you see if Rossos have anything?
Okay. Anything else I can do for you while I'm out? Shopping, a trip to the laundromat?
Just take care of yourself.
So there, Nico very helpfully provided 2 massive hints for what we should do next.
So he's going back to the museum.
Yep. Okay, I think there's a good point to finish this episode, so next time we'll go back to the Crew Museum and see if Lobineau has anything, and then we can have a word back at the police station, see if we can find anything about Marquet. Okay, so... Right, so, until next time, say goodnight, Viv.
Good night, Viv.
Good night, everybody.